Hello everyone, you're now with me, Ruben Gomez for the Nightline. The financial sustainability of transport systems is likely the next port of call, with the uncertainties amid the COVID-19 pandemic. While cities have been extremely effective in sharing knowledge and adjusting public transport services, handling the financial consequences of the pandemic will take a lot longer and require a tailored approach. To have an insight on the matter, TVS went to the ground and spoke to the bus operator. Here, I have the report. The Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee, SDMC, has decided to extend the Conditional Movement Control Order, CMCO, in Kuching until November 27th. Therefore, movements in and out of the Kuching district are also prohibited. However, it is exceptional for the official matters and work purposes by showing permission letters or work passes from employers.
The travel restriction during CMCO is in phased and controlled manner. For some people, the public transport is a preferred mode of transportation. But the major challenge for this public transport right now is to restore the pre-pandemic normalcy without spreading the disease in an uncontrolled way. How do they do that?
Social distancing and mass transit are two concepts that quite literally don't sit well together. Yet even as the COVID-19 pandemic has forced cities around the world to implement stringent physical distancing measures, many of them have needed to maintain the public transport services for essential workers.
Remind the passenger to apply permit or call a pass from the police station before they proceeding to other district. Because since this one, the Kuching is still in under red zone, then we go to other zones like yellow or green zones, then we need a permit. In fact, the CMCO should be stopped yesterday, but the government decided to extend until this Friday, the 27th of November. We're still asking to remind the passenger to apply permit.
To ensure health and safety, transport authorities and operators have been working together to design and implement a wide range of emergency measures specific to COVID-19. Of course, keeping transit open while protecting the health of passengers and staff requires sweeping adjustments. For Stanley, that is imposing physical distancing by restricting the number of passengers in the public transport.
On the bus, this one, first thing, this one have to checking the temperature, the body temperature, registration for the passenger details.
For many systems around the world, operating costs have been adding up quickly as emergency measures have unfolded. But according to him, in the face of financial burden, the bus company operators have always been public conscious, understanding the difficulties by everyone during this challenging time. For that matter, they have not increased the fares.
No, still maintain. The bus fare still maintain. Yeah. We not adjust any bus fare. We all sales are under the ceiling price set by the LPKP, by the government. Yeah.
Kuchingites have embraced the fact that the new norm is here to stay, having no objection on the extensions of the Conditional Movement Control Order, CMCO, in the district to November 27. The matter was well received and applauded by the community to curb the spread of the virus. Some noted that the order served as a stern reminder as a result of a complacent attitude, therefore urging everyone to continue obeying to the standard operating procedures, SOP. Sheryl Shamina has the report.
In regards of the recent announcement of the extension of the CMCO in Kuching, we would like to applaud the government's effort in trying to lessen the cases, positive cases in Kuching, and also wait until Kuching turns green zone. The restricted movement of the citizens of Kuching has helped curb the spread of COVID-19. We want to applaud the government for ensuring the public health and safety is well taken care of.
As a hand-salon worker, I think the government extending the CMCO is a good choice. It is because because of the rising case right now. Although our beauty center gets infected, but it's still obeying the SOPs and right now.
In response to 58 COVID-19 cases reported in Kuching the past 14 days, Sarawak SDMC Acting Chairman Tan Sri Dr. James Pramod Masing announced the extension till Friday, November 27. Masing also added that the movement in and out of Kuching district was also prohibited, except for official matters and work purposes by showing permission letters or work passes from employers. The entrance procedure and 14-day quarantine upon entering Sarawak have also been extended until further notice. According to Masing, the state government would still bear the quarantine cost for Sarawakians, while their spouses, who are not Sarawak citizens, would have to pay for themselves. On the operations of nurseries and kindergartens in red and yellow zones, they are allowed to operate subject to the standard operating procedure issued by the State's Ministry of Welfare, Community, Wellbeing, Women, Family and Childhood Development. Commenting on the operations, the operators would be fully responsible for SOP compliance as well as informing the ministry prior to opening for business for record and monitoring purposes. As for the number of passengers in a private vehicle, it is according to the capacity of the vehicle and no longer limited to just 3 persons.
Welcome back. An increasing number of flights and tourists have led to the congestions of Kuching International Airport, or KIA. As such, the state government is looking into expanding KIA to accommodate more flights and passengers' capacity.
Hari said that based on the statistics, Kuching International Airport will soon no longer be able to support the number of passengers arriving. KIA's capacity is set at 5 million passengers per annum. However, this limit is being reached at a rapid pace. Hence, plans must now be made to deal with the issue.
I think it's premature for me to reveal what we have in mind at the moment. But definitely, we are looking into a bigger airport, which can accommodate the increase in flights, as well as the potential increase of tourist arrival to Sarawak after this pandemic.
He said this at the Sarawak 2021 Budget Towards a High-Income Society in 2030 webinar organised by the Sarawak Business Federation, or SBF, today. He added that the expansion plan is now being scrutinised by experts who specialise in airport development.
Meanwhile, Abang Johari said the state government is still looking into establishing Sarawak's very own airline company.
Year, Abang Johari announced plans for Sarawak to set up its own airline company, saying that there were options for the state to have its own small airline connecting Kuching with other strategic destinations in the region. One such option was a proposal to purchase a certain share of an airline, but Abang Johari noticed that the airline had a certain liability.
So if you were to purchase share or acquire a certain stake in this airline, and you are still having minority block, I think it doesn't give any effect to you. Might as well you set up your own with clean, clean airline company.
Abang Johari said the government is still looking into it, adding that Sarawak must have its own homegrown carrier to connect with strategic locations such as Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, Australia, and nearby destinations to attract tourists to Sarawak.
We are looking into it. The right approach for us to set up our own airline, maybe not 100% government, but together with private sector. Because airline, it has to be private sector driven, with government equity with the private sector.
Sarawak is committed to spearhead the digital economy initiatives in order to optimize the potential of digital technology and digitalization, enabling Sarawak to leapfrog towards a high-income economy by 2030. The state government is now pursuing for digital banking facility. As such, the matter has been conveyed by the state government on its interest to Bank Negara of obtaining a digital banking license.
Sarawak will collaborate with reputable technology companies and local retail banks approved by the governing bodies to set up a digital banking system which is resilient, fair and dynamic. On the development of the Bank of Sarawak, Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg said it has proven to be a sustainable platform to facilitate and expedite the realization of the state's development agenda and a change in the landscape of doing business. During a webinar organized by the Sarawak Business Federation or SBF on the Sarawak 2021 budget towards a high-income society by 2030, when asked on the adaptation of the private sectors while setting up digital banking in Sarawak.
Thank you. As you know, yes, Sarawak had few banks before. As you mentioned, Bank Utama, Hokhua Bank, and the rest. What happened was about 10 to 15 years ago, I think 15 years ago, the Malaysian government had a policy to have 6 big banks. And because of that, these smaller banks have to be merged in order to set up these 6 big banks. Though at that time, Sarawak's view was you must have also what we call boutique bank. But it was not accepted during at that time because the federal government policy is, I think, they wanted to have 6 big banks. The reason, I mean, I do not know really the reason behind it. But then lately, Malaysia also was looking into the possibility of issuing digital bank license by Bank Negara Malaysia. And I am a firm believer in this digital transformation. As you know, if you study the banking industry now, a lot of our banks, they have what they call branches, retail banks, retail.
Abang Johari, who is also the State Finance and Economic Planning Minister, commented that there was a possibility of pursuing a digital banking license with the Bank Negara Malaysia. This was remarked in relation to the current successful establishment of Sarawak's own mobile payment interface through Sarawak Pay, which forms a basic to digital banking. A digital banking license would help to serve the underserved. In April 2017, Bank Negara approved the establishment of the Development Bank of Sarawak.
With this digital transformation, the time will come. The banking industry will have fewer branches, but their transaction will be based on digital transaction. I think that is why Malaysia is going to issue this license. And other countries actually have adopted this new banking system. For instance, Singapore. Singapore already have done this. Then, as you know, we have introduced our mobile payment here. Mobile payment seems to be very successful through Sarawak Pay. So basically, the basic is more or less similar in digital banking, except the digital bank is supervised by Bank Negara.
COVID-19 update. Sarawak today recorded 0 new COVID-19 positive cases for the 3rd consecutive day, maintaining the total number of cases in the state at 1,055. Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee, SDMC, in its statement said Sarawak also recorded 5 new recovery and discharge cases, all from the Sarawak General Hospital, SGH. There are 54 cases that are still receiving treatment, where 48 cases are placed in isolation wards in SGH and 6 cases in Miri Hospital. Meanwhile, there are 9 new persons under investigation cases recorded in the state, with 1 still awaiting lab test results. No deaths were recorded today. The committee added that active clusters in Sarawak remained at 6, namely the Besi cluster with 12 cases, Jalan Abel cluster with 15, Bagi cluster with 33, Seladah cluster with 9, Green Hill cluster with 91 and Wisma Sebekas cluster with 44. Right, we'll be right back after a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. And now we're back. Malaysia imports onions from various countries and does not rely on a single source. This is to ensure there is enough supply in the local market.
Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalinggi in a statement said Malaysia imports onions from 29 countries, with 5 being the largest exporters, namely India with 36%, Pakistan 23%, China 19%, the Netherlands 9% and Thailand 7%. According to him, Malaysia will not be affected in terms of disruption of onion supplies should a producing country experiences natural disasters such as drought, floods and earthquake, or imposes economic sanctions. Nanta said the import of onions from India stands at 149,539,411 kilograms of the total import, and the large amount was based on the choice and preference of Malaysians. Malaysia imports 8 types of onions, namely the small red onion from India, big onion from India, red onion from China, small red onion from China, small red rose onion, small red onion from Myanmar, small red onion from Thailand, and big yellow onion from Holland. According to Nanta, he has received complaints from consumers regarding the supply and prices of onions. He responded that the Indian government on September 14th imposed an export ban on all types of onions except for Bangalore rose and Krishnapuram onions to cater to domestic demand following floods that hit the country in last July. Nanta said the prices of onions are the same as other items which depend on supply and demand. That is, when demand exceeds supply, the price will increase. Nanta said the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry enforcement team would conduct constant monitoring and checks at all levels, including the suppliers, wholesalers and retailers. He added the ministry would not hesitate to implement the price control scheme as provided under the Price Control and Anti-Profiteering Determination of Maximum Price No. 2 Amendment Order 2020 if the situation is urgent.
Made in Malaysia logo, a staple of quality products produced locally. Therefore, small and medium enterprises and SMEs entrepreneurs are advised to apply and feature the Made in Malaysia logo on their products to gain consumer recognition and confidence.
Deputy Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs KPDN-EP Datuk Rosul Wahid said products with Made in Malaysia logo could strengthen consumer confidence as the use of the logo was not given arbitrarily to product operators and had to go through strict application procedures. According to Rosul, from April 2009 to October 2020, KPDN-EP had recorded a total of 1,236 applications for registration of Made in Malaysia logo with a stock keeping unit SKU labelling totaling 19,816. He said out of the 19,816 SKUs, a total of 15,951 SKUs were approved to get Made in Malaysia logo marking, while the rest were not approved due to several factors and did not meet the application requirements. It involves the failure of applicants to certify that their products are manufactured in Malaysia and contain at least 51% of local materials or content, unsatisfactory labelling aspects, unsatisfactory product quality, and questionable product safety. Rosul said KPDN-EP is in the process of improving the application criteria for Made in Malaysia logo to open up opportunities for more industry sectors to apply on their products. Among the conditions of the application is to prove the use of 51% local materials or content, products must be manufactured in Malaysia, products must involve manufacturing process activities, companies registered with the Companies Commission of Malaysia (SSM) and have a valid operating license from local authorities. The business categories that can apply for Made in Malaysia logo are food and beverage products, services, beauty and health, fashion, accessories and crafts, home furnishings and agro-business.
The government has to work harder in developing a digitally skilled community to be digital native and interact digitally. This is due to it being a source of energy for the country's progress and to be competitive with other countries, especially in the context of future industries.
In this regard, Minister of Communications and Multimedia KKMM Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah said, in addition to the need to expedite the internet connectivity and capabilities of the community in terms of owning suitable devices, the community also needs to be strengthened in terms of migration to the digital world, mastery of the latest technology, and awareness of disinformation, cybersecurity, and positive membership in various forms of digital community. Saifuddin in his Facebook posting today said KKMM plays a role in building the digital community ecosystem by accelerating migration to the digital world for those who have not ventured into it, improving digital skills for those who have ventured into it, and further enhancing digital access for those who already have the skills. He said KKMM also played a role in boosting local talents, implementing the Smart Society program among the grassroots community, making the community aware of disinformation and cybersecurity, and activating membership in the digital community. In that context, he said KKMM will optimize the use of the 1,101 community internet centers (PIK) throughout the country. According to Saifuddin, the local community refers to those who live and work physically in an area, while the digital community refers to those who are physically and digitally in an area. He also revealed that KKMM is making efforts to enhance communication initiatives, focusing on how to improve the quality of communication with the community, especially at the grassroots level, namely by using the community empowerment approach. In that regard, Saifuddin said there are programs and activities to develop the local community at the grassroots level, such as district, sub-district, housing estate, village and longhouse that need to be rejuvenated.
West Jaya Governor Ridwan Kamil is inviting Malaysian companies to participate in the Urbana Metropolitan Project. The project is expected to become a new industrial and economic growth area in the province of 50 million people.
Launched by Ridwan on November 18th, the Urbana Metropolitan Project is a new industrial area in the West Java Province, Indonesia, covering 7 districts, namely Kabupaten Sumedang, Majalengka, Cirebon, Subang Indramayu, Kuningan and Kota Cirebon. Spanning 43,913 hectares, the project, which involves an allocation of 350 trillion rupiah from the West Java Provincial Government, entails the construction of the West Java International Airport in Kertajati, Majalengka, Patimban International Port in Subang, and Cisumdawu Highway connecting Cilunyi, Sumedang and Dawan in the province. According to Ridwan, the project has thus far attracted investors from Taiwan, Japan and the United Arab Emirates (UAE). Therefore, he sincerely hopes that investors from Malaysia will take part in the project, which will further create more than 4 million jobs. Ridwan attended meeting with Malaysian Ambassador to Indonesia Datuk Zainal Abidin Bakar on Sunday. The meeting was also attended by Malaysia-Indonesia Friendship Alliance Vice President Fabian Amanda, Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation (MATRADE) Trade Commissioner in Indonesia Harman Ahmad, and Director of Tourism Malaysia in Indonesia Roslan Othman. The meeting discussed the potential investments in the project and socio-economic cooperation between Malaysia and the West Java province. Ridwan said he himself was ready to give a briefing through a webinar to Malaysian companies interested in participating in the project.
Well, that's all from me for the Nightline. Remember, tomorrow, Razi Ahmad, 5 p.m. and with me again tomorrow for the Nightline. Ruben Gomez, anytime, anywhere. Thank you.